Okay, so let me take you through the setup for this hero shot right here. So here's our set, and we have our products and some props on here as well. I'm gonna take you through those in a second, but let's take you through the lighting setup. We have our main light. Our main light over here, as you can see, is a deep softbox and my extra layer of diffusion in front here, because I want this to be as natural as possible. So that is creating a nice soft light on the whole set right here. So other lights that we have in play right here, if we look at this right now, we look at the screen, we can see if we add this light, this is just filling up any shadows that we have in the back here. And I'm gonna go around on this side as well. So if we just turn this one on, again, what that's doing, that's filling up any shadows along here, and it's also giving a bit of light on this plant as well. And we have this light here as well, so that is just pretty much providing a nice wash of a light through the whole scene, but from the back and at an angle, so it's hitting the products as well and creating this light right here. So if we look at the product just there and we turn it off, you can see we've lost that. If we bring it back in, then we can see the effect that it's having, just giving a little bit more depth to the product as well, and illuminating this plant from this angle, the same as that light over there is doing. But there's also one more light in the scene, and that is this digital background. So it's a television that I'm using, so in essence the background is lit, it's self-lit or it's backlit. So right now the color that you're seeing on this background right here is coming directly from the computer via AirPlay, and it's just on there, so we can make that whatever I want. And I'm using AirPlay and a direct connectivity, so that if I wanted to tweak the colors, if I wanted to add anything else, because right now I do have a gradient applied to this. This is actually a window in Photoshop that I've just brought onto this second display. So I'm using it as a second display, and so I can quickly make changes back in Photoshop and it appears on here. So right now we're just going for the pink to white gradient, and that's where we have the last light, if you like, for the scene. Right, so this big plant here at the front is what's providing the blocking for the parallax shot. So without this, you wouldn't really see that effect without having it that close to the camera in the foreground. So when you're doing parallax shots, it's all about the difference between the foreground and the background. And lastly, we have the setup here. We just have the slider on a vertical upright, so we get in that slide vertically as opposed to horizontally on this one. Now today I'm going to be concentrating on shooting the green screen shots, or the blue screen shots in this case. So one of the key things when doing this is ensuring that the background is evenly lit, so that anything that you're seeing in the back of this, or the area that you're going to be using to key out to using as a sample area in the back here, is evenly lit. So that's going to help you out a great deal when you come to post-production. So we have the product here and we have it on a turntable, and just going to be really just giving this a little turn, about 15 degrees, 20 degrees turn, really slowly, and that's going to be it. And we're going to repeat that for all of the products within this shot. So quick lighting setup, we have our main light source here, our key light, really nice and soft, extra diffusion at the front, and just a simple reflector, as you can see, just bringing up the shadows on the side of that product. Also with my camera, this is turned to the portrait mode, and that's because the products are mostly tall than they are wide. So I'm trying to utilize the maximum pixel space on my lens or on my sensor, and that's why it's in portrait mode, so I can maximize the resolution for this. So we're starting at a very good resolution, so we can essentially zoom this in a little bit further than we might do if we were just shooting it in landscape and having to crop it later on in post-production. So this set right here is for the salts. So it's the Salty Soother, and like I said before, it's the same product, so the contents are the same but the labels are different because they're being sold in different markets, and so we have to shoot it twice, but we have to make sure as well that they're as close as possible, so both videos are going to be almost identical. Obviously there's going to be slight variations, but we try to reduce that as much as possible. So that's one of the challenges with this particular shoot as well. So creating a parallax motion control move on the slider helps us to make sure that when we move the shot, it's moving at the same speed and it's moving at the same angles as well. The only other thing that I really have to get right is what I want to do at the end when we come to the end of the shot is fill this up. So what I've done is created a calibrated funnel. Yeah, it's just like a cone made from paper. So I've got that there. So once I got to the right position, which is about, the shot takes about 20 seconds to happen in real life. So when I get to about 14 seconds into the shot, then I start releasing the salts. So there are a couple of times, like in this case, where it got stuck, and you just got to repeat it until it works. So there's no motion control in this one, unfortunately. So it's just a matter of trial and error and getting the right flow to make it look like the first shot. Like I said, we're trying to get two identical shots with two different labeled packages. Right, so now I've got to clean up all of this mess so I can get on to the next shot. All right, so for this shot right here, what we have is this setup here. But essentially for this one, what you're going to see is you're going to have these in the foreground. You're going to have the main ingredient for this cream, which is a mango butter in the foreground, and then we're just going to kind of reveal the product at the back. So the bottom of it is being blocked by bits of fruit, so we won't see the shaft it comes up on. So that's how we have it there. We have a pneumatic cylinder that's pushing the product up. So once that's done, once that shot is finished, then you just kind of eat the props, you know. It's actually quite sweet. So for this shot, we're just going to be panning up along the front of the product, and this is quite a macro shot, but it's a wide macro, so we can kind of see the packaging, and you know, that can also tell the story about what is inside, because it also tells you, you know what I mean, on the packaging what is in the product as well. And we can reinforce that by, you know, showing at the same time, showing the ingredients. In this case, we have shea butter and sunflower oil, which in this case is represented by sunflower seeds. Alright, so this one is a simple top-down shot. We have the camera on the tripod, plexi tray half filled with water, and we have our product inside. So the idea here is just to create some gentle waves washing over the product. So that was the idea for this shot. So what I'm just going to do is just gently tip this to the side. So I'm shooting at 120 frames per second as well, so I can slow that motion down a little bit. So just tip it to the side and let the waves just rock back and forth. And that is that shot. So what I'm going to do is add this shot in just before the waves. So essentially this is going to be the trigger for the waves. It's like an electricity spark made with light just along the side of the product, and that's going to ignite the wave as you like. So this is how I'm going to use this in this instance. Just a quick tip for this shot, and for a lot of things that I do, is use double-sided tape. So use double-sided tape to stick, you know, to stick this down in here so that it doesn't move. So when I was doing the rocking motion, the product itself does not move and it stays in place. So this shot is a bit similar to what I've done before, and I suppose it's a matter of just preparing the scene and creating the scene that you want to shoot. Using the probe lens on this one, so it requires a hell of a lot of light. So what was happening at the top of the product, it was a bit too hot, so it was a bit blown out right at the top where the white is. So I've just added a little bit of card right at the top there just to block some of that light. Another tip right here as we go is use your grid lines on your monitor so you can get everything lined up just the way that you want it. If you wanted to have it off center, that's fine, but at least you know where it is off the center. This shot right here, what we're doing is we are getting a macro shot of the oil coming out of the bottle. And so right now everything is kind of at a standstill, and I'm just letting gravity do its job. Obviously it's suspended on the clamp right here, and I'm just letting it gravity drip. Now each of these drip takes probably about 5 minutes to happen, but it is absolutely worth it, because then if I were to go and right now and to squeeze the bottle myself, Then I'm going to introduce shake, and you definitely don't want, well, I don't want any shake in this shot. So I'm just letting gravity do its thing and just let that bubble form. So as we can see right now, this is just forming very nicely, and I've got this backlit on one side, so on the opposite side of my key. So the key light is on the left hand side, the big light, and I'm having it reflected by this bit of foam core right here. That's just for the bottle, but also we can see from the backlight, so just on the underside of the bottle and on the right hand side of the bubble, we're just giving that a nice highlight around the curves there. So as we can see, it is forming, and this is where it's getting really heavy, and let's just let that drop through, and that is absolutely beautiful. So for this shot, we're shooting at 120 frames per second because at the moment that is the highest speed that I can go with the camera. But we're going to use compressed air to create an explosion in this case. So we have our setup here, we have our air underneath, and there's a hole in this, and this lid isn't screwed on, so it's just resting at the top. And then we're just going to introduce the compressed air and then kind of watch that explode and see what it does. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. So I'm just prepping the tank. Got to remove all of the water droplets on here down to the water line. So this product here is a bath oil, and what happens is it's yellow. If you open this and look inside, it's yellow, but once it touches water, then it turns milky white, which is really cool, and that is something that the client wants to showcase, you know. They kind of want to bring that to life and show that working. And that is the filming part of it out of the way. So I'm now 60% through the shoot, and I'm about to log all my footage and prep it ready for editing. If you did enjoy this video, do hit the like button and leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think about the video, guys. Join me over on Instagram, definitely Instagram link here. Join me over on Instagram, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.